Find a comfortable position. Let your body settle. There is nowhere to go for a while. Only cool shade, warm grass, and the quiet of afternoon beneath the branches. Today's story is called Beneath the Apple Tree in the Afternoon Light. The apple tree is already waiting in the softer part of the day. Its branches spread wide above the grass, holding a patch of shade that feels still and settled, though the sunlight still reaches through in quiet, broken pieces. Nothing beneath it feels dark, only gentled by shade. The air is warm but gentler here. Out in the open, the afternoon still carries the fuller warmth of the day. Beneath the branches, that warmth has lowered into something calmer, cooler in places, milder in others. The grass holds both sun and shade at once. You do not need to go far. A good resting place lies beneath the tree, near enough to the trunk to feel sheltered, but not so close that the ground grows hard or crowded with roots. The grass there is soft and slightly longer than the patch beyond it, bending easily where the shade has kept it from drying. You pause for a moment and look down. A few fallen leaves lie among the stems. A pale petal rests near one of them. The ground beneath the grass is dry and steady. Somewhere in the air around the branches, there is the faintest trace of apple sweetness, light enough to notice only after everything else has gone quiet. Then you lower yourself carefully. One hand reaches to the ground first. Then your weight follows more slowly until the grass gives a little beneath you and the earth below receives you without resistance. You settle in stages. One shoulder eases down, then your back, then your legs, lengthening into the grass until the whole shape of your body begins to rest more fully beneath the tree. For a moment, you make one small adjustment, a softer angle for your head, a slight shift of your arm, then nothing more is needed. Above you, the leaves move lightly. Not all at once, not in any strong wind, only in small clusters, where the breeze reaches one branch and then another, passing gently through the canopy before growing still again. The light changes with them. A pale patch of warmth slips over the grass near your hand. Another lies briefly across your shoulder, then fades as the leaves settle back into place. The movements are slow enough that they do not draw you out of rest. They only make the shade feel alive in the gentlest possible way. Beside you, the grass stands close and quiet. A few stems lean near your wrist. The ground beneath your back still holds some warmth from earlier in the day, though the air under the branches feels cooler where it touches your face and hands. That balance settles around you quickly. Warmth below, shade above, soft grass between, you breathe in. The scent here is green first, grass, leaves, a little dry earth below it. Then, after a moment, the quieter notes begin to show themselves. Warm bark nearby, and somewhere above or deeper in the branches, that faint, rounded sweetness of apples in the afternoon air. Nothing about it is strong. It does not ask to be followed. It simply belongs to the place, the way the shade belongs to the branches, and the branches belong to the tree. For a little while, you let your gaze rest upward. The leaves form shifting layers overhead, with small pieces of pale sky between them. The branches seem broader now that you are lying beneath them, more sheltering, more complete. The whole tree feels larger from here, not in any imposing way, only steady and quietly present. Somewhere beyond the shade, the afternoon continues. You sense it in the brighter light further out across the grass, in the warmth that lingers low in the ground, in the stillness stretching past this one tree into the rest of the day. But here, beneath the branches, everything has narrowed into a smaller, gentler space. You hear a faint movement overhead as one cluster of leaves brushes lightly against another. Then quiet returns. Nothing else follows it. No need for anything to. Your arms rest more easily now. Your legs grow heavier where they lie in the grass. The last small effort of holding yourself slightly apart from the ground begins to leave your shoulders. Even your hands grow quiet. The shade remains steady. The light continues to shift in slow, broken pieces. The scent of grass and leaves stays close around you. And little by little, the tree begins to feel less like something above you and more like the calm condition of the place itself. For a moment, another light touch of breeze moves through the branches. You feel it only after the leaves respond. A soft, passing coolness across your temple and hands, then stillness again. The trunk is nearby. You do not need to touch it to feel its presence. Its nearness gives shape to the resting place, making the patch of grass beneath the canopy feel chosen and held. Your breathing begins to settle into that same quiet pattern. The air moves in gently, then out again. Nothing more is required of it than that. A patch of dappled light shifts over the grass by your shoulder. A few leaves stir overhead and grow still once more. The faint sweetness in the air comes and goes, so lightly that it almost seems imagined, though the tree above you keeps proving otherwise. You no longer need to adjust anything. Your back is supported by the earth below. Your shoulders have softened. Your legs rest easily where they are. Even your thoughts seem less inclined to travel very far. And after that, there is nothing more to arrange. Only the apple tree above you, the grass beneath you, and your body beginning at last to rest inside the quiet of the afternoon. The shade settles more fully around you now. What first felt like a quiet place beneath the branches begins to feel closer and more complete, not closed in, not hidden away, only gently gathered. The grass, the trunk, the leaves above, the faint shifting of light across the ground all seem to draw nearer without pressing in at all. Above you, the canopy moves in its own slow way. A small cluster of leaves stirs first, then stills. A little later, another answers farther along the branch. The motion does not travel evenly through the tree. It comes in soft, irregular passes, here for a moment, absent for the next, leaving long rests of quiet in between. The light follows that same unhurried pattern. A warm patch lies briefly across the grass near your arm, then thins as the leaves drift back into place. Another settles over your legs for a little while before fading into shade again. Nothing brightens sharply. Nothing changes enough to draw you out of rest. The afternoon simply shifts above you in soft, broken pieces. The grass beneath you feels more familiar now. What at first was only a place to lie down has become something steadier and more known. The ground holds firm beneath the softer layer of stems and blades, and your body seems better carried with every passing minute. There is warmth lower down where the earth has kept it from earlier in the day. Above that, the grass is cooler where the shade rests longest. You feel both at once: warmth beneath your back, cooler air against your hands and face. A mild patch of sun now, and then moving across one shoulder or along the grass beside you. That balance asks nothing from you. You do not need to seek more warmth. You do not need to move deeper into shade. Beneath the apple tree, the afternoon has already arranged itself into something easy to rest inside. The scent here remains close and settled. Grass comes first, then leaves, then the soft, dry steadiness of the ground beneath them both. After that, in no fixed rhythm at all, comes the faint sweetness of apples somewhere overhead or lying hidden farther off in the orchard grass. At times, it is hardly there. At times, it seems a little rounder in the air. Never strong, never sharp, only enough to give the shade its own quiet character. Nearby, the trunk holds its place without asking to be noticed. You are aware of it in the same way you are aware of the ground beneath you, not as something to inspect, but as a steady part of the rest itself. Its nearness gives the whole patch of shade a settled shape. Your body begins to answer that steadiness. The backs of your arms rest more fully now. Your hands lie where they are without wanting to shift. Your shoulders no longer seem to remember the last of their effort. Even your legs feel different than they did when you first laid down, heavier in the grass, more willing to give their full weight to the earth beneath them. The small places where tension lingers without being invited begin to loosen too. Around the eyes, at the corners of the mouth, along the jaw, across the brow, nothing dramatic changes. The effort simply leaves a little at a time. Above you, another slight movement passes through the leaves. It begins somewhere beyond your direct noticing, then reaches the branches above your resting place as a faint overhead stirring. The sound is soft enough that it barely rises beyond the quiet, more a brushing than a rustle, more a passing touch than a sound to follow. Then it is gone again. The long hush that follows feels even deeper for having been disturbed so lightly. You breathe in. The air beneath the branches feels cooler than the meadow beyond, though not cold in any way, only softened, filtered, as if everything that reaches you here has first passed through leaves and shade before arriving at your skin. Breathing out is easy too. Nothing catches, nothing asks to deepen. The breath comes and goes in the same unforced rhythm as the light shifting over the grass, as the leaves moving a little and then resting again. For a while, your attention drifts between small things: the grass near your wrist, the mild warmth gathered in the ground, the faint sweetness in the air, a moving patch of light that lingers, then changes, the coolness of shade at your temple. No one detail holds you for long. Each rises gently, then softens back into the whole, until the whole resting place begins to feel less like separate sensations and more like one quiet condition that surrounds you completely. The orchard beyond the tree does not need to come clearly into view. It is enough to sense that it continues. More grass somewhere further out, more branches, more afternoon light lying between one tree and another. Perhaps more fruit higher up where you do not need to look. None of it asks for focus. The world beyond this one patch of shade can remain softened and distant. What matters is here: the grass beneath you, the leaves above you, the tree nearby, the hush under the canopy. A little while passes that way, long enough for the stillness to settle another degree, long enough for your body to stop holding itself apart from the earth in even the smallest ways. Your back seems to sink more completely, not because the ground changes, but because you no longer resist it. The weight of your legs grows quieter. Your shoulders spread into the grass with less effort than before. Even your hands feel less like parts of you that must do anything, and more like places where stillness has gathered. A pale strip of sunlight reaches through the branches and rests for a moment across the grass near your knees. It does not stay long, just long enough to leave a little extra warmth before shifting away again. After it passes, the shade feels kind rather than cool. The tree keeps the air easy. The earth keeps the warmth below. And between those two, your body goes on resting without needing to choose one or the other. That is part of what makes this place so restful. Nothing is all one thing, not fully sun, not fully shade, not entirely cool, not entirely warm. Everything is balanced gently enough that you can stop noticing the balance at all. Somewhere further off in the afternoon, a faint sound touches the edge of your awareness and disappears again. Too distant to matter, too soft to follow. The quiet beneath the tree closes around it almost at once. Your eyelids feel heavier now. If they are open, they do not need to remain so. If they are already closed, the tree does not disappear with them. It stays present through the filtered air, the scent of leaves and grass, the slow-moving light, the occasional soft stirring overhead, and the steady hold of the ground beneath you. Rest becomes easier when nothing in the world seems to press towards you. Here, under the apple tree, everything remains at the right distance, close enough to feel held, gentle enough not to disturb. The light reaches you softly. The leaves move softly. The scent in the air comes softly. Even the shape of the resting place itself seems made of calm edges and quiet nearness. You do not need to listen for anything. You do not need to watch for anything. The tree is already doing enough. It is holding the shade above you. It is breaking the sunlight into softer pieces. It is letting the air pass through the branches in a way that reaches you cooled and light. It is gathering the whole afternoon into one smaller, more sheltered stillness. And beneath that stillness, your body grows heavier. Not uncomfortable, only more settled. The backs of your calves rest easily into the grass. Your arms lie where they fell. Your shoulders feel broad and loose. The muscles of your face have almost nothing left to do. Another small shift of leaves passes overhead. This time the movement is slower, spread across more of the canopy, though still too gentle to become a pattern. A few pieces of light drift over the grass. One rests briefly near your hand. Another fades across the ground beside you. Then the branches quiet again. The trunk remains steady. The shade remains kind. The afternoon stays gathered around you beneath the tree. The scent of apples returns for a moment, faint but unmistakable now. Not strong enough to fill the air. Only a small rounded sweetness, as if one apple has warmed quietly in the branches above, or another lies hidden somewhere in the grass beyond your reach. Then even that softens again into leaf, grass, bark, and earth. Thoughts begin to loosen more noticeably here, not because you push them away, only because there is less and less reason to follow them. The shade asks for nothing. The grass asks for nothing. The tree above you, with its slow shifting leaves and drifting light, asks for nothing more than your weight and your stillness. So the mind begins to thin itself naturally. One thought rises, then passes. Another forms only halfway, then dissolves before it can carry you anywhere. What remains is simpler. Cool shade, warm ground, grass close by, leaves overhead, a faint sweetness in the air. The calm, steady presence of the tree. You lie inside that simplicity a little longer, long enough that the difference between noticing and drifting begins to grow small, long enough that the orchard no longer feels like a place around you, so much as a quiet condition you are resting inside. The branches overhead continue their light, uneven motion. The leaf shadows shift slowly over the ground. The air remains soft against your skin. The earth stays warm beneath you. Nothing needs changing. Nothing needs answering. Nothing more is required of you except rest. And with each easy breath beneath the apple tree, that rest becomes a little deeper, a little quieter, and a little more complete. By now, the shade beneath the apple tree feels less like a place you chose and more like the quiet condition around you. Cool air rests lightly against your skin. Warmth remains in the ground below. The grass holds you where you are. The branches above continue their slow, uneven movements without asking for your attention. You do not need to notice much more than that. The tree has already done enough. It has gathered the afternoon into softer light. It has held the shade above you and the warmth below you. It has made a small resting place out of grass, air, leaves, and stillness, and your body has settled into it so completely now that nothing in you wishes to move. Your shoulders rest easily. Your back feels fully supported. Your legs lie in the grass with a quiet heaviness that asks nothing more of them. Even your hands seem to have forgotten they were ever meant to do anything at all. Breathing remains easy. In, then out. Nothing catches. Nothing deepens by force. Nothing needs your help. The air comes to you already softened by leaves and branch shade. It touches your temple, your hands, the stillness of your face, and passes on without leaving anything behind except a little more calm. A faint patch of light rests across the grass nearby, then shifts away again. It does not matter where it goes. The shade remains kind. The warmth remains close. The tree remains above you, steady and quiet. Somewhere in the air around the branches, the faint sweetness of apples drifts back for a moment. Then grass and leaves take its place again. That is enough. What is here now is already enough for rest. The ground beneath you, the grass around you, the filtered air, the leaves overhead. the calm shape of the afternoon gathered beneath the canopy. If your eyes are closed, nothing is lost. The tree remains with you in other ways. In the cooler air beneath the branches, in the warmth held low in the earth, in the scent of bark, grass, and something faintly sweet, in the soft shifting of light that reaches you even through closed eyes as a changing brightness, gentle and slow. If your eyes are open, they may close whenever they wish. Nothing more needs to be seen. The branches will go on moving without being watched. The light will go on passing through them without being followed. The orchard beyond will remain where it is, whether you look for it or not. And here beneath the tree, your body already knows how to rest. A little more effort leaves with every breath. A little more weight settles quietly into the ground. The shade holds. The grass holds, the earth holds. Nothing asks you to come back from the softness. Not the changing light, not the faint movement above, not the stillness itself. Everything continues, but gently. Everything remains, but softened. Thoughts grow thinner here. They do not need to be pushed away. They simply lose their shape more quickly than before. One begins, then drifts off. Another never quite forms. What remains is simpler than thought. Cool shade, warm ground, grass beneath your arms and legs, leaves above, a little sweetness in the air. The calm, steady nearness of the tree. The afternoon seems to lower itself another degree around you, not darker, only softer. The light that reaches through the branches feels more settled now. The air moves less. Even the small changes overhead seem to arrive with wider quiet between them. That quiet does most of the work. It gives the body room to be heavy. It gives the mind room to stop following itself. It gives the whole resting place a deeper stillness than before, as though each untroubled moment leaves the next one calmer when it arrives. You can rest inside that. You can let the tree keep watch overhead in its own quiet way. You can let the grass support the full length of you. You can let the afternoon continue without asking to be kept up with. There is nothing to hold, nothing to answer, nothing to be ready for, only this patch of shade, only this soft air, only the steady earth and the leaves above it. Your body can be heavy here, heavy in the best way, safely held, fully supported, quiet from head to foot. And if sleep comes now, it can come gently as the light moving through the branches, as gently as the air passing through the leaves, as gently as the afternoon settling beneath the tree, one soft, still layer at a time. So you rest, in cool shade, in warm grass, in the faint sweetness of apples and leaves, in the calm, steady hold of the earth beneath you. And all around, the apple tree continues exactly as it should. Quiet, sheltering, sun-softened, untroubled, asking nothing more, only resting above you as the afternoon drifts on.